two or three questions. Maybe you or Tanya can, or Masters can help. Is there any specific tools? They are out there, but the EXP for like sourcing, finding companies that, you can go through that tool. They have to pay is subscription that some of us in different parts of the country can have access to it for finding the companies, or a tool, more of a CRM, not CRM, but keeping track of all this activity of sourcing companies. Do you know if EXP will invest on getting those tools, because it will attract a lot of brokers, differentiation from other business brokers, and if they have some tools that will make business brokering not easy, but more lean, more operational, I think we may get more people.
I think that we're at a point right now where we need to source our own information until we get to that point. So, I mean, my philosophy is like anything else in life. I don't want to wait for something to happen. I want to make it happen. And, I'm going to be wrong along the way a few times, and that's okay. It's the only way to learn. But I always look for different ways, and I'm always thinking of different ideas. How can I source? Because you hit a great point. Let's say you want to, who are you going to target, right? And I think that may be the best bet, especially for somebody new. And I'm learning this myself, trial and error, man, is to focus in maybe on one specific area, one specific industry, and stay laser focused and silo in. And therefore you'll get more comfortable in doing it. And then once you master that, no pun intended, or once you get a little bit more knowledge, or you get a little bit more comfortable, then you can start outsourcing beyond that. But my advice is that, we're entrepreneurs. We got to data mine our own information right now, our own sources right now. But I think rather than being across the board, focusing on one particular area, maybe one particular industry, one particular type of business. And I think that'll help you learn how to data mine and source. And then you just step onto the next one. So let's say, for argument's sake, it's going to be urgent cares. You want to focus in on urgent cares. You do all your research on urgent cares, find out about them, target urgent cares, and then maybe maybe the next step is to source dentists, whatever the case may be. Anyway, that's what I think. From my perspective, I'm constantly trying to not reinvent, but at least trying to figure out what the best way for somebody new to go about it is. And anyway, that's my 2 cents.
John, do you focus on one specific industry segment? Is that?
I haven't been, but honestly, I put in a lot of thought into it, a lot of research in the past couple of weeks or so, and I've decided that I'm going to narrow my focus in on, and I'm still debating which one, but I'm going to narrow in on one specific industry, because I just, for me anyway, I work better if I can stay focused and not be all over the place, because it's like anything else. When you learn something new, if you learn how to play football, depending on what position, you have to learn the fundamentals first. It's a step-by-step process. And so I look at it the same way in this. I just want to stay singular focused. And I think it's the best way to start.
Yeah, I think that somebody mentioned just last week, I was talking to someone, it says, you can be a general doctor, but if you want to be specific, you go specialize in cardiology or heart or brain or what have you. And
and I'm not saying that you have to always do it that way and continue that way, but I think that when you're first starting, it's the right way to do it, right? These guys, you have professional football players right now, they're in camp, that these guys have been doing it year after year. They're working on simple fundamentals. One day, it's just one thing only. It's going to be how to block, proper way to tackle, whatever the case might be. They're focusing in every day on one specific task, and sometimes for a week. And these are guys that have been doing it forever. So I think that when it comes to business, it's similar type of philosophy.
Great. Good point.
Yeah, I can tell you now, sir, that I can't recall who, but one of the apprentices that I work with had clued me in that you can actually gain access to business lists through your local public library online. So if you, and I just did that over, I had a Los Angeles library a Los Angeles library card, but it expired. And so over the weekend, I went on to, since I now live in La Quinta, I went on to Riverside County's library and set up an account for myself. And then through the business resources, I was able to get to a company that just has business lists, and literally you can select. In my case, I have a property management company that I'm trying to sell. So I figured, okay, that's a great opportunity for me to just call all kinds of property management companies. So I created a list in area code 818, area code 805, area code 661, and I created the lists and then downloaded them so that I can just call, and I can import them into Agent Hub if I want to. What the list does not have, the list has their address, their phone number, the name of the person, and all of that. What it does not have is an email address, but I have a virtual assistant that I can, or you can hire somebody on Upworks or on Fiverr to take a list. You can send them a list and have them go out and find all the email addresses for you and update that for you, and relatively inexpensively. There are also some other tools that you can subscribe to that'll find email addresses for you. And so, so that's one route. In my case, I wanted to actually call them because I want to have a conversation with them. First off, I want to find out if they're interested in acquiring. And if so, if they're interested in, residential property management, commercial property management, do they do HOA management? What is it that they do? Are they interested in expanding through acquisition? And if not, how much longer are they going to stay in the business? And do they think they're going to be looking to sell within the next, 5 years? And if they say they're going to be looking to sell within the next 5 years, then I want to add them to my CRM because I want to keep in touch with them. If they're not, planning on selling within the next 5 years, maybe I'll keep in touch with them, maybe not. Maybe I'll end up calling them again in a few years. So it depends. If it's the wrong person, or they already sold, or I can't get a hold of them, I'll try and get updated information. So there's all kinds of things all kinds of dialogues that you can have. But in general, I don't like just doing a straight import into Agent Hub, because then you're going to end up getting a whole lot of clutter. And so when I add stuff into Agent Hub, I add tags so that I can look things up. So part of that is, if they do say they're interested in expanding through acquisition, well, what's their acquisition criteria? So are they looking, like I said, residential, commercial, HOA, a combination, but what's their minimum cash flow, that the minimum SDE that they're looking for, or the minimum EBITDA that they're looking for? And I put that in as a tag so that if I have a book of business that's property management, I'll be able to pull up everybody interested in that has a tag of property management, a tag of residential, and a tag of EBITDA greater than, 200,000 or whatever, 200K. Okay. So using that combination of tags, then I can pull a list when I have something and send out just to those people.
I like it. The library is a great idea. When I first started out on Wall Street, we used to use Dun & Bradstreet cards. I know I'm dating myself, but that was really the source of how we found out a business's pedigree, the name, phone number. They didn't have email back then, but I love that idea about the library. Yeah,
it's free. What I found out is they'll only let you download like up to about 500 in a session. And then you just close out your browser and log back in.
Wow, that is very cool.
And do it again. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's
another
great source.
Yeah, I mean, it's free, so it's great. Yes. Go ahead, Master.
LinkedIn is another good source as well, because you got a lot of professionals and a lot of companies on LinkedIn. And in most cases, they do have their email addresses, on their profiles. So that's just another good source to start researching companies that way as well.
No doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Tanya, what was the two virtual assistant sites that you mentioned? Upworks?
Yeah, Upwork, it's UPWORK, upwork.com. And then there's another one called Fiverr. It's Fiverr, Fiverr.com.
Got it. Thank you.
And then look,
Like-
we're already paying, I'm sorry, we're already paying for Reonomy. It's definitely a little bit more legwork, but you can definitely source data mine out of Reonomy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Reonomy is a good source. And Reonomy typically, you're gonna find both the owner of the real estate as well as it's got tenant information. So you'll be able to match up whether the owner and the tenant are the same person.
That's it. You hit the nail right in the head, because you're finding out all the tenants in that, and those are all potential leads, or at least people that you can call, especially because you can find out when their leases are up. So if you're dabbling in doing commercial aside from business brokering, a lot of opportunities. I've been playing with that too. So yeah, another good idea.
Yep. So there are a lot of resources out there, and you just have to pick and choose, what you think is going to work best for you. Or as with everything in marketing, I mean, everything in marketing is trial and error.
Right.
So as you try it out, are you getting the results you want? If not, then you tweak it and do it again. But the virtual assistants can definitely save you some time. You can find a VA that will go through LinkedIn and put together a list for you in an Excel spreadsheet and send it to you, or a Google sheet or whatever. So things that are very time consuming and tedious, you might want to outsource them to somebody, that you find out on Fiverr, because, you can get somebody for $5 or $10 an hour to be doing that for you. And it's probably not a good use of your time to be doing that detail work.
What about emailing? What software do you use, or John or anybody else, for emailing to clients?
Well, Agent Hub will do that. You can set up drip campaigns and everything in Agent Hub.
Just
And
directly,
so,
okay.
yeah. And so I used to use MailChimp, but I converted a lot of my stuff, a lot of my automations and a lot of my email campaigns, I just converted them. And because why pay for MailChimp when you already have Agent Hub?
I agree.
Great point.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things Agent Hub can do for you. There are certain things it's not very good at. The one-to-one emails, it's a little bit hard because the email conversations, it doesn't really handle them well. It doesn't show them very well, if you send an email out, somebody replies back to it, you try and reply again and all of that. The way they have the screen set up and the size of the email box and all of that is a little bit awkward. But it does in terms of automations and drip campaigns, and it's got a lot of, in being able just to build, a website, a survey, a funnel, anything like that. It's actually a very good tool, and it saves you a lot of money, because I used to use ClickFunnels, MailChimp, and a couple other tools, and I was able to consolidate them all into Agent Hub.
That's good to know. That's
Yeah.
good to know.
So I still use something called Deal Relations as a CRM. I still use that because it does one thing for me. I haven't figured out how to automate in Agent Hub yet, and probably because I haven't taken the time to contact them and ask them for help. But it literally, when you're marketing a business in BizBuySell, BizQuest, BizBen, any of those sites, businessbroker.net, what Deal Relations will do is if you get an inquiry from any of those sites about your listing, that'll come into your email. In your email, you've set up basically a filter to automatically forward that email to a specific address that you're given a Deal Relations that's part of your account. And so anytime one of those gets forwarded to that, Deal Relations will actually go through and strip out it'll parse out the content of that email, add the contact into the CRM for you, automatically send them an NDA for them to sign electronically, and then notify you that, you have a new contact or a new interest in one of your listings, and that they've signed the NDA. And then at that point, you give them a call and talk to them about the listing. So I haven't figured out how within Agent Hub how to have it parse out emails like that. But like I said, I haven't called them yet either.
Two